Welcome back, new video on this ongoing correction, but also I will deep dive more into NIO specifically and have some interesting news around Huami and maybe ARK Invest, so stay tuned for that. And also gonna talk about my trades that I did today. And before we do that, as always, please smash the quick like button, so this helps the channel a long way. Alright, back now with the Nasdaq here, and if you watch my latest two videos, you know that I've talked about this correction that is going on here, and that we need to bounce back above this orange line, which in my views is the support zone. That's basically this upward bull market that we've been trading in quite in a zigzag the last couple of weeks. And yesterday we already had this trend confirmed in terms of that we closed above the orange line. And luckily today, once again, in my video, I said that most likely we're going to see a green pre-market, which in fact we did. And then we had a little bit of skepticism in the market, so we were below the support zone until Powell has some new remarks around interest rates in the markets, and then we were rallying back again and closed even higher than yesterday actually. So that is looking good to me in my point of view, although some people would say, well, yeah, that might be a bull trap and we could, well, go back down below and then, go really deep from here. But in my point of view, this is looking good. And as I mentioned yesterday, this can go quite fast with a recovery here in those markets. Now let's talk about our favorite NIO here, which was even more bullish, because as you can see here, I have this red downward trend line here, and actually we have a nice big green candle above this downtrend. So this means that we are actually finding new space above that. So I actually expect that we should go higher from here, because this is really a bullish break of this current trend line. And I said it before, I am still expecting a run into the earnings. I cannot say exactly like how high this can go within maybe the next couple of days until we have earnings announced. But I think it's interesting to see that we are now already up from the very down of this correction till today. We're up 25%, so that's how fast it can go. And I really hope that you guys have held onto your shares and not sold in panic, as some probably did. So whether or not NIO has enough steam to sustain this movement upwards, we're gonna find out tomorrow. But for me, I think it's looking good here, and there's definitely reasons with the upcoming earnings that we should go higher from here. So as outlined in my last videos, I still think there is lots of pent-up good news with NIO. So I hope that with this break of this downtrend right now, there is actually enough steam to support this movement of seeing higher highs now in the coming days for NIO. And once again, stay tuned for my video on earnings expectations, as well as obviously also a follow-up on what will be happening after the earnings. Now, before I talk about what investments I have made today, I want to dive a little bit deeper into Huami, because I have some interesting due diligence that I've been doing so far. And currently, Huami is trading at around $17 a share. So yeah, also recovered a little bit, but obviously it has also taken out a little bit of a steam of this recent run-up of Huami. But I still think that this is a super interesting company. As said in 2021, I'm very bullish on Huami, on Baidu, and on Bitcoin. And for Huami, I see that this company is not a smart wearable manufacturer. There's so much more about it, and if you want to learn more about the company, I suggest that you watch my previous videos on Huami, also my video about the $60 price target that I think should be justified for benchmarking with competitors currently, and then also my fireside chat video about where Huami unveiled the strategy of not only going into consumer electronics, but also in big data analytics, and on top of that, industrial medical devices. And that's where I have some interesting stuff to show you now. So in this Donkey Patreon community, which by the way you can join if you are in the eligible tier of the Patreon supporters, I have posted a summary of the recent acquisitions of Huami. And if we go into that here, it's Yitong High-Tech, it is Aspen Imaging, Promaxo, and Hyperfine. And there's really a pattern evolving here around the topic of next-gen medical devices and diagnostic imaging, as well as MRI and MR imaging. So I looked a bit deeper into Hyperfine, and that's a startup which Huami invested, I think, around 5 million, so that is not really a lot, but it's interesting because this company is actually also founded by Jonathan Rothberg, and yeah, this company tries to kind of miniaturize the MRI technology, so having cost efficiencies and so on. But the interesting fact here is this guy, the founder, who is like a really important person, I would say, so in the area of healthcare, entrepreneurship, previously also DNA sequencing and so on. But interestingly, he also founded a company that is called the BFLY Network. And this company is doing ultrasound designed for the future. And actually having this entire ecosystem around not only the device and the management of those devices and the analytics, but also an entire ecosystem of services around it. And I'm really getting the feeling here that this is something that Huami is actually looking at. If I look at those previous acquisitions, also with Yitong Technology as a hardware maker, and then all of those other partnerships and acquisitions in the area of next level medical imaging. So I just want to share it with you quickly here, because if you look at this, they also just IPO'd and they went public. So you can see, for instance, here this management presentation, which is quite interesting to see because they not only show the technology, but also talk about how big the market is, how big the need is, the total addressable market. For instance, here about the market for the equipment and for the services, in total 8 billion. That is not too much in my point of view. I think usually I'm looking for larger addressable markets for the companies and startups I'm investing in. But it is, I think, a really good insight into what Huami is possibly thinking about doing for China, but also I think my point of view is that they want to actually enable those partners and companies to have access to the Chinese market, and that supported and leveraged by Huami. Now the interesting thing here about this company is that they just IPO'd, as I have mentioned, and that ARK Invest has actually invested in them. So this company is only valued at around, I think, 1.5 billion. I didn't check it today. But it's interesting to see that ARK Invest obviously did the background check and thought that this is an interesting market to invest in. And I also know that Teladoc is a really big position of ARK Invest. And so lots of these aspects of those business models and products and services are actually done by Huami or tackled by them in a way as well. So this is why I think this is kind of adding to the argument why I think the potential in Huami is that big and is such an interesting company, even though institutional or the larger investor crowd is not having their focus on Huami just yet. So I just wanted to put it out there, give you guys a preview on that. Maybe you can have a look at this company presentation as well. I have not taken a position in BFLY myself, but instead obviously in Huami. So one of the investments I made today is actually to buying more call options for Huami. And as you know, I already have built a large position in Huami. I've been doing countless videos on this before. And now I am looking to increase my position with that with a kind of a higher leverage and also with less capital to spend. That's why I'm choosing to invest more with options. And we have catalysts coming up now with now on February 25th, a shareholder meeting in which they try to change the ticker from Huami HMI to ZEPP. And ZEPP is actually the new brand which they just launched, which you can see here is much more clean and sleek and refined, much more premium in a way, and also much better aligned with, I think, the Western audiences and also possibly with the investors and the stock markets under this new ticker, less having to deal with the problems of the stigma of being a Chinese stock. But just to repeat myself here on my investment thesis on Huami, I think there is large potential, not only the $60 price target that I have with catching up with competitors, but possibly a 10x or actually even more if I just look at those examples that I've shown with medical imaging and all of those business opportunities ahead. I think the potential, if they execute on not only increasing the market size, executing on the market size and increasing the market shares as well as now increasing the average sales prices of those brands, and then increasing the multiples of the price to sales from currently 1 to up to 7. And this could be a massive business. This could be maybe up to 90 billion of a company, but more realistically, maybe let's say a 10 to 30 billion company in the very distant future. Okay, and then last but not least, I added 2 more positions today. One is Baidu, and I mentioned in my previous videos that I think we are due for correction in Baidu. And even though the markets are recovering, Baidu is going down. It's now down 15%. I think it actually has the potential to go down even further, but I am now starting to add onto my existing position. So be aware, this could drop even further to the next support levels, maybe more than another 10% of a drop here. But I'm so bullish on this company for 2021 and beyond that I'm actually starting to increase my position from here now as well. And last but not least, the other company that I bought today is Meituan. I added to my existing position. Meituan was really going down almost 20%, but I think now we have reached nice support levels here. I don't see any fundamental concerns. We have earnings coming up ahead. It's a great company. It's kind of the China innovation index play. They have far more things that are tapping into on the business model side than people would know about, so much more than just the food delivery. And I'm going to do more detailed videos on this company in the future once I have less topics on my plate. It's a fantastic company. I'm really convinced about it, and I think it's still a good play to add here for the next couple of months. So yeah, these are my current views on the markets. As always, this is not investment advice, but I'm trying to put out the best information so that you can actually also make up your own mind and make more informed decisions. And I hope you found some value in this video. If so, please once again smash the like button and then see you in the next one.